Okay, hello, welcome to the stream. I'm Milo, and my pronouns are they, them. This week, we're going to be looking at a very old text adventure game, but it's got a spiffy new remaster. Actually, I don't know when the remaster's from. I can look that up. I didn't have a lot of time to do research for this. It's been a busy week. But yeah, The Dark Crystal, based on the 1982 Jim Henson film. This is a part of the High-Res Adventure series by Sierra. It's the only one that's like a licensed property. But yeah, this is sort of interesting early Sierra stuff. One of the interesting things about it is that it's one of Roberta Williams' early games, the legendary game designer, who I've featured the games of a little bit on stream before. I've played Mixed Up Mother Goose and some King's Quest games. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. Like, it predates graphical interfaces for adventure games. So it's a text interface, but it's got graphical components. It was originally released on Apple II, Atari 8-bit computers, with an interesting different palette style. Browser came later, but it's also got a Japanese release on FM7 and PC88. And maybe PC86 as well? No, 98. Okay, cool. Yeah, but as you can see, the graphics, like, you could call them primitive by modern standards. They've got this kind of vectorized wireframe style. But it's very interesting style, and it's kind of what they had at the time. Let's find out when the browser one was out. So 1983, this is like the year after the movie. And this remaster's from 2020. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, it didn't have a release in my region or any European areas until the remaster, but there you go. Okay, what else do I want to say first up? Okay, I was looking, this is a page on Scum VM Wiki about the original release. And I just found it interesting that they describe Gelflings as a race of mole-like people of a distant world, which is a very strange way to describe them. If you're not familiar with the movie, it's really cool. It's like a masterclass in puppetry and kind of creature and world design. Like the Henson Company at the height of their power, doing a wholly original fantasy adventure thing. Really cool stuff. So on the official website for the franchise, I guess, there's behind the scenes photos for the movie, and then if you scroll down, play the game, and that takes you to this page where they've put a version of the Sierra High-Res Adventure. One more thing before we start. The game manual, very important in this era. So going to that link takes you to a nice PDF. Lovely artwork. And a bit of an intro, and I'll read this because it's probably important for setting up the game and stuff. Story time. I am Aughra. No, I won't do the voice. It's going to be rough on the throat. I am Aughra, keeper of the crystal shards, watcher of the universe, teller of a prophecy only you can fulfill. And fulfill you will with luck, courage, skill, and logic, for you are entering the world of the Dark Crystal. When you begin our high-res adventure game, so Aughra also works for Sierra in this context, you'll become Jen, hero of the Dark Crystal. You must find and restore a shard to its rightful place in the crystal before the great conjunction of the three suns. Fail, and the world is doomed to live forever under the rule of the ruthless Skeksis. The Dark Crystal, as are all of our high-res adventure games, is a fantasy game in which you wander through a make-believe land. The computer becomes your hands and feet, eyes and ears. To achieve your goal, healing the crystal, you must overcome obstacles that stand in your way and solve a series of puzzles. You'll need an Apple II for this version of the manual, and one disk drive. All else you'll need to know to end the evil reign of the Skeksis is contained within this manual. If only Jen had this manual. He spends like half the film going, I don't understand, I don't know what I'm doing, meh, meh, meh. He's really annoying. Anyway, now ready yourself, Jen. Your journey is about to begin. To begin, insert side A, etc., etc. Now, copy protection, I don't think we need to worry about. In the meantime, I will spin a tale. It is my tale, but within you will learn how everything that is came to be. Read closely, Jen, for many clues are contained within. That's interesting, if it's actually going into, like, how things came to be. Hi, Gibbon, and hello, Gibbon's cat. I hope you two are having a lovely snuggle. Yeah, so one thing I've done recently is read the comic series Dark Crystal Creation Myths based on Brian Froud concepts. He's the world designer of the original movie. So it'll be interesting to see how this jives with that. Of the race of Aughra, I, Aughra, am the first and last. This is my song. Now, in the comic, she had a son, which she created from the matter in a meteorite that fell to Thra. But never mind about that. Aughra's song. I lay on the mountain above the crystal and saw the three suns move closer together. I lay under the rocks with one eye open to the light, and for one moment I saw the joint splendor of the three suns shining down upon me. From that light my open eye became blinded, and in that moment of light the Urskex opened the door in the crystal and entered our world. This does happen in the comic. This is really interesting. This stuff must have been based on notes from Brian Froud, just as the comic was. The Urskex found me there upon the mountaintop. They healed my burns. When I was healed, they built for me the great observatory that I might see all the paths of the world. This really is fascinating, because this is stuff that wasn't in the movie. So you're getting additional, like, context for the story from this game, which is a great thing to do in an adaptation. In the days of their first coming, the Urskex were full of vigor to change and build. They hollowed out the mountain around the crystal and built a castle of lesser crystals around the great crystal. And above the crystal they made a great three-sided portal. So when the suns moved over the crystal, they stood framed in the portal, a triangle surrounding the circle. The Urskex shone with an inner light of beauty that streamed from them always. I shared with them my knowledge of our world, and the Urskex listened to me. I showed them the beauty of the crystal when the light of the suns together shone upon it. I taught them that 1,000 years would pass before the next great conjunction, when the three suns would once again combine to wake the crystal to full beauty. I told them how, at the time of the great conjunction, the song of the crystal would once again resound through the rocks, and how all life would rejoice. In return, the Urskex taught me that there is power in the universe that is there to be used by those who dare to control and shape their destiny. Still, they would never reveal the history of their past, or their thoughts of the future, but I learned more than they thought I knew. That's interesting. There's a whole dynamic between Vornip, Aughra's son, sort of learning more about the Urskex and having conflict with Aughra over her trust of them. I do recommend Dark Crystal Creation Myths. Really cool comic. Anyway. I learned that in the hearts of the shining Urskex there struggled two beings living within one body, and for them all things were divided so. Light and dark were for them the opposing spirits of the universe. And I came to know that the Urskex had left their former world to follow a grand design that their fellow Urskex thought a dangerous folly. They had come to our planet to capture and use the power of the Great Crystal. They had come during one great conjunction to use the next 1,000 years later to achieve their work. In the heart of the castle, they made a net of crystal and golden mirrors that would catch the light that passed through the great crystal and direct it into the chamber of light. Finally, the moment of the great conjunction came, and the three suns shone down as one upon the crystal, sending a blinding beam of trapped light through the chamber. Then, one by one, in a long procession, the Urskex walked into its brightness. They entered the bright light, each as a single being, but as they left the path of light, each had become two. To the left, the Skeksis. To the right, the Mystics, or Uru, which I don't think will be said in this, but it is said in all the comics. The great division of the Urskex had been achieved. On that day, the harmony of the world shattered. The Skeksis woke from the shock of division full of violence and anger. They stormed into the crystal chamber, staggering under the strain of their new bodies, grasping each other to keep from falling, yet hating each other's touch. There was a loud argument. Blows were struck. one blow hit the crystal. A shard broke from the crystal and flew up the shaft, out onto the mountainside, and the light left the crystal. In the comic, it falls down the shaft, but anyway. Now from the crystal there came no more songs. The sun shone as before, but dimmer. The trees grew as before, but twisted. Strange beasts moved in the woods. The Skeksis seized control of the castle. The mystics fled when the harmony was broken. They were filled with sadness, and they made their way to the Valley of Stones. In that mist-filled valley where water flowed from abundant springs and caves dotted the rocky slopes, the peaceful and gentle mystics built stone circles of power, hoping thus to find protection against the growing evil of the Skeksis. From the mystics, I learned what the great design of the Urskeks had been. They had hoped that by submitting themselves to the light of the crystal, they would purify their divided selves, that everything in them that was less than perfect would be burned away. They had not understood the balance of their souls. They had thought that there could be light without darkness, stillness without motion. But instead of perfection, they had achieved division. Dark from light, force from virtue, Skeksis from mystic. Unlike the mystics, the Skeksis felt no grief, for in the castle they reigned in glory. The darkness of the crystal seemed to them an eternal refreshment, and in their first days they still shone with a fire that could deceive the eye. Their speech was still like music, and they knew best of all the art of flattery. Many Gelfling fell to their lures. The Gelfling were earth and spirit, master of song and shaping. They carved wood and stone to set free the shapes that lay hidden in them. They moulded metal to rejoice in its new form. Before the darkness, the rocks sang to me, and I shared their song with the Gelfling, but then the Skeksis stole the Gelfling with force and fear. For from the castle and the darkened crystal within it, there spread out evil like a cloud, power that no longer led to harmony. Only in the protected valley was there peace, and among the quiet plants of the pod people. Like the Gelfling, these did not foresee the evils they would suffer from. They tended all things that grew, above all the great pod plants in whose vast sea pods they made their villages. There they thought only of laughter, food, and music. Their music stayed simple and unchanged, alas, the only joy left in our suffering world. When the Skeksis began to take Gelfling as well as pod people as slaves, the Gelfling were dismayed. For once they took thought for the future. They sought to know if the crystal might be healed, if the Skeksis' rule must continue. They lit the fires of prophecy. They took counsel from the flames. 7 circles of 7 Gelfling lay on the hilltops all night, their faces to the stars. Their dreams were made of stone. The wall of destiny still stands. There the Gelfling were shown the quest for the lost shard, and they were shown the healing of the crystal by the hand of a Gelfling, replacing the shard by the light of a great conjunction. And there too they were shown the ruin of the Gelfling, the fall of their houses, and the wall stood for all to see. The Skeksis too saw the wall, and they cruelly resolved to foil the prophecy. Their first thought was to confuse the search for the true shard. They made fragments of artificial crystal, without the higher virtues of the great original, but not easily distinguished in appearance. This is not in the comic. Of their artificial crystal, they made 3 copies and scattered them on the slopes of the mountain beneath the castle, near where the shard had fallen, so the Gelfling would not know which to place in the wound of the crystal. The Gelfling found all 4 and brought them to me, hoping one was the true shard, but no effort of mine could make it reveal itself. Then the Skeksis made the Garthim from the memory of sea creatures in their first world. Whoa, that's lore. And different age of resistance, I think. The strength of the Garthim was almost unbelievable, their stupidity incalculable. Their sole purpose was to destroy all they found. The Gelfling understood this and lived in fear of them. The pod people never understood, never realized the Garthim had any connection with the castle, from which no pod slaves returned to tell their story. As soon as the Garthim appeared, the creatures of the world turned against them. Foremost among the enemies of the Garthim were the Landstriders. Destruction of the Garthim became their fiercest joy. Their speed, their slashing blows would leave a Garthim crippled before it knew it had been attacked. But not even the Landstriders could prevail against the great multitudes of Garthim. And the Skeksis bred crystal bats to carry lenses of artificial crystal. The bats sent images of all they saw back to the crystal in the Skeksis' castle. Now that the Skeksis had all-seeing crystal eyes with which to direct the Garthim, they set about putting an end to the Gelfling. When at last they thought they had succeeded, they rejoiced in the deaths of the last Gelfling and of the prophecy. But unbeknownst to the Skeksis, 2 Gelfling and 2 Gelfling alone survived the slaughter. Jen was found and fostered by the mystics, Kira by the pod people. And if you read the comic, The Power of the Dark Crystal, the Gelflings come back and they don't explain how, because it's set after the movie. Really good comic, that one, actually. Jen was brought up with riddles and enchantments, music and dreams. Ursu, the master, wisest of the mystics, placed him under the protection of spirals of power so that he might be fit to restore the shard. Ursu knew that whenever a mystic died in the valley, a Skeksis died in the castle, for their bodies were divided, but their souls were still linked. Thus, when the great conjunction at last grew near, the master allowed himself to die, knowing that this would also mean the death of Skekso, the emperor of the Skeksis, and that the Skeksis must then fall into utter division. And indeed, with Skekso dead, the rivalries concealed for fear of his power broke out at once. Skekung, the Garthim master, and Skeksil, the chamberlain, fell into open quarrel. They do call Skekung the general during that scene, I think. It's a bit hard to tell. The chamberlain lost the struggle, fled from the castle, and turned his mind to his last betrayal. While the Skeksis fought, the mystics chanted and prayed. I heard the death chant for Ursu. In its echoes, I first saw Jen. He had been shown a dream image of the crystal shard and told to find me, Aughra, on my mountain. The mystics in their wisdom told him no more, but sent him on his quest. I, in my foolishness, thought it folly. And thus is the backstory. And now, commanding your computer. Yeah, I don't know how relevant this is, because they added a system of predetermined word commands. But here's a good tip. During your journey, you will encounter terrain that may call for flying, jumping, swimming, etc. In all cases, do not become frustrated. Instead, think of a way to explain to the computer what it is you desire, and it will do its best to comply. Amazing. Love that. Now, this scares me. The manual recommends drawing a map which shows directions and locations. I might try to do so, but if I am having trouble, I guess I could look up a guide. Take special care to map when you're in a maze, the bane of all adventurers. You can drop items and backtrack to pick them up to find your way. That's interesting. Okay. Of the things I've learned watching the universe, one might be of use to you. It's called saving a game. And allows you to take a rest or begin again with a head start should you fall into the hands of the evil Skeksis. I don't know how saving works in the browser version, but we'll find out. The road to the Dark Crystal is long and perilous, and along the way you'll meet many terrifying creatures, some indestructible, others not. Remember, the bravest of heroes, meaning me, know when to fight and when to cower in the face of superior strength. Now, Jen, make haste. Watch the sky. The suns are drawing ever closer together. You must hurry to fulfill the prophecy. And that's it. There is a note here. There may be a pterodactyl or tyrannosaurus. That's strange for this game, but for this world, but okay. Alright, I think we've done all the prep we need to. Got my notepad ready to go. So let's go. Oop. One thing I need to do is make sure my keyboard has room to type. Okay. Let's go. Oh. Okay, that works too. Jen is in a beautiful mountain valley. The mystics have a special name for it, the Valley of the Stones. A mystic approaches Jen and says, Ursu, wisest of our race, is dying. He has sent for you. Come quickly. Then the mystic walks away. And look at this art. It's beautiful. What do you want to do? Look or follow? Let's look. Oop. Jen is surrounded by vast mountains called the Valley of Stones. This has been home to Jen since he was born. Jen's parents died when he was born, and the mystics have been raising him ever since, as seen in the Dreamcast scene. What does back do? It goes back to the previous scene. Okay. So, like, it gives you tips on what commands are going to work in this situation. Oh, you can't click them, so you still have to type. All right. Okay. Follow. Jen is in a large candlelit cabin. Ursu, wisest of the mystics, lies here dying. Ursu sighs and says, "At the time of the last conjunction, or coming together, of our world's three suns, the evil Skeksis gain control of the great crystal that rules our destiny." By the way, there's a... like... this music note thing. It doesn't seem to do anything because there's no background music. And it makes the clicking sounds when I type or when a screen advances, whether I've clicked this or not. So I don't know what's up with that. Well, anyway. The crystal cracked and darkened, and darker will remain until a piece that broke off this crystal shard is restored. There should be some punctuation there. There is a prophecy that the shard can only be replaced by Gelfling hand, and only at the time of the next great conjunction. If this prophecy is not fulfilled, the Skeksis will grow even more powerful, and their reign will last forever. Jen, to you has fallen the task of healing the crystal, and it is time for your quest to begin, comma. For very soon the three suns will once again be joined in a great conjunction. You must find Aughra, keeper of secrets and watcher of the heavens. She may have the shard you seek. Gelfling, I leave you with this final puzzle. What do the Sun brothers quarrel about? Okay, first of all, they use female pronouns for them, I believe, in creation myths, but never mind. We may meet in another life, but not again in this one. Whoops, I skipped that because I was trying to zoom in the screen a bit. Has that made it blurry? Yeah, let's leave it at default, I guess. But I can change the size of this window so it shows up a little bigger on stream. Probably a good idea. Okay. Look. Yeah, so now we know what the shard looks like. I guess we go. Jen falls headfirst down a steep slope. Jen is traversing a wilderness of tangled vines, chattering blossoms, and wary creatures. So they're throwing us right into the action. What would you like to do? Look, rest, or walk? Always good to look first, see what's around. Oh, never mind. We've just started, so surely we don't need to rest. It's really going fast. Jen is in an eerie swampland. Vines have come down from the trees and wrap themselves around Jen. The vines will not let go of him. What does Jen do? Yell or struggle? Yell. Get the attention of Aughra, who we know is nearby. Really? Okay, apparently not. Struggle then. This is a Sierra game, so I'm expecting deaths around every corner. As the vines tighten, a hand appears in front of him. Jen finds himself returning the gaze of a single eyeball thrust up among the tendrils by a withered hand. Talk. A creature responds, but Jen cannot understand the dialect. Speak Gelfling, please. Hello. I don't know what you're saying. I don't think you should do that. Okay, let's struggle. This would have been a struggle without these handy prompts. Like the original game, there was that whole section in the manual about like trying verbs and stuff. So the original game wouldn't have had these like hints of what verbs will work. So it would have been quite the trial and error. The creature reveals themselves and comes out from behind a bush. Nice use of the the neutral pronoun there. Aughra says, Gelfling, you know answer to riddle, huh? Riddle? Well, the mystics have been teaching me riddles all my life. What do Sun Brothers quarrel over? Tell me answer then, Gelfling. Aughra snaps impatiently, to which Jen responds, the Sun Brothers quarrel about moon daughters. That required no player input. I did type yes, I suppose. Knowing that Jen would know. Interesting having a level of disconnect between the player and the character. Very good, cackles Aughra. She orders the vines to let go of Jen. That's an interesting point, actually, because, like, in most ways, Jen is a really basic, like, protagonist archetype. He's a very bland kind of Luke Skywalker hero's journey type thing, which I find very uninteresting. But this game is actually making use of things that the movie didn't by having him, like, know things based on his backstory. Before Jen can even catch his breath, Aughra goes north to her observatory. Jen, sensing that something important is about to happen, follows close behind. Oh, it didn't even prompt me to type north. Jen is in the observatory of Aughra, watcher of the heavens and keeper of secrets. Aughra turns to Jen and says, "What do you want?" What does Jen do, look or ask? He spends a while just kind of gawping around at the orrery. Yep. Predict the motion of the heavens. Very good. So let's ask. Jen asks Aughra about the crystal shard. Aughra cackles. That all? Why not say so? She sets a blue shard on the table. This is the shard that belongs to the crystal. Only a Gelfling can restore the shard to the crystal and restore balance. So what about the fake ones? In the comic, she goes down into the depths of Thrar, and there's like proto-crystals down there, and she can't tell the real shard from like various shards of other crystals that are down there. There's nothing about Skeksis making fake ones, but even assuming what's in the manual, the game is kind of ignoring that. Hey, Volklos is here, asking, is this the pared down version of Dark Crystal Gelfling's Adventure? That's a great point. I didn't mention that before, but this game, where does it say? It says here, the Gelfling Adventure was an alternate name with a different releases of this game. So yes, this is an updated re-release on the Jim Henson Company website that they did in 2020. So it is indeed a version of this game. Although, yeah, you mentioned it's pared down. That's interesting because it seems quite simple. Oh, just looking at some of these screenshots, like I didn't go to a stone circle or anything. So yeah, I guess it is pared down. I didn't realize that. Okay, well, never mind. I think I'd rather play something a bit more straightforward today. Given how I feel, rather than struggling through an archaic text adventure, but yeah. Yeah, what's cool is that they have the entire manual uploaded on this website that you can access from a link, so that's nice. But yeah, not all of the information in that manual might be relevant to this current release. Volgloss says, I know that Gelfling Adventure used this. Which of these options do you want to take that we're seeing here? Oh, I was wondering about that. I was thinking, oh, they must have added those as a modern concession, but if even the original game had those kind of prompts, that would have been cool. I think maybe this series of adventures was geared for a younger audience, which might explain why they wanted to make it a bit simpler. Oh, so Volklos is actually comparing the Gelfling Adventure release to the original Dark Crystal release, which was the full parser. Okay, so what's the Gelfling Adventure one? Also published as Gelfling Adventure with a different interface. You could select actions from a short list instead of typing in commands. Ah, interesting. Well, I've learned something. I certainly had, limited time to research this, so it's good to know. Thanks for that, Volklos. But it doesn't have, like, separate releases listed. Were they simultaneous releases or something? That's a puzzle. Well, I think a port of the simpler version is probably a better idea. People these days might not have patience for a full text parser adventure. Okay. Jen asks Aughra about the crystal shard. Aughra cackles. Oh wait, we read this. So now I'm wondering if like the original release had more about the fake crystals and stuff. Gelfling Adventure on the Apple II and Dark Crystal on the Apple II. Like that scene in the movie where it's Jen looking at 3 crystals on a bench and picking the right one. That seems like perfectly geared towards an adventure game puzzle. So Volklos is saying that the Dark Crystal original race was 83, and then Gelfling Adventure was 84. Not like some madman would gift a full pass of text adventure to a certain YouTuber for Christmas or something. That definitely wouldn't happen. Okay. Yeah, you have a point. There's certainly a market for them, and people still willing to play them. But for general audience and for like a promotional thing on the Dark Crystal website, I think it makes more sense to do the simple one. But yeah, I've always been curious about text adventures. I never really played a proper one. And even this isn't a proper one, really, it seems like. Alright, be careful, young Gelfling. The Skeksis are terrible creatures and will do everything they can to stop you from restoring the crystal. Your journey continues, young one. Depart from here and return order to these lands. Now, Volglos, when you say gifting a full text adventure, did you write it? Because that would be incredibly impressive. I know as a creator and discoverer of geocaches, that would be in your wheelhouse, but I'm just curious. I'm not really plugged into the Raukau community. Yeah, she's telling me to get going. Jen finds himself mired up to his knees in an eerie bog. Suddenly, skipping the Gartham attack on the observatory. I watched the movie this morning, by the way. That was my preparation for this stream. So I can tell you what they skipped out on. Yeah, he like fell down a hill and ran away from the Gotham, basically. Oh no, okay. Volglos did not write the text adventure, but it admits that it is in his wheelhouse. But he has written some in high school for friends. That's cool. That's fun. So what was this text adventure? Is it one that you'd recommend? Because I'm kind of curious about them now. What does Jen do? Sit. That makes no sense. Well, in the movie, he doesn't get out of the bog. Kira helps him out of the bog. But I guess we'll walk. Oh, we try to walk, but we didn't make it. Sinking to his waist, Jen has become hopelessly ensnared in a boggy section of a great swamp. With each passing moment, he slips further into the great swamp when he sees someone moving behind a bush. What does Jen do? Struggle or shout? Struggle! That was the answer before. Jen begins to sink faster and becomes stuck with only his head above the muck. The great conjunction passes overhead. The world now bathes in darkness under the rule of the Skeksis. You lose. Begin again. Are you serious? Hang on a second. Save. What? It's got a message for warning you against saving, but I haven't even done anything yet. Well, I guess it shouldn't take too long to get back to where I was. Volglos is recommending Hadean Lands. It's on Steam. Hadean. Perhaps one day you'll visit authoring in the medium. Cool. And April's here too. Hi, April. How are you doing? I wonder if you rest if you just die. No. If you say you don't know how to answer the riddle, the vines take you, and you die. Wow, this is amazing. Like, it seemed simple enough, didn't it? But the choice between shout and struggle didn't seem huge, you know? Rest. A Garthian, warrior of the Skeksis, jumps out from behind the tree line and grabs you. It brings you back to the Skeksis castle, and you watch as the great conjunction passes overhead. Typo. The world now bathes darkness under the rule of Skeksis. Great. And it didn't want me to save, so when can I save? Leave. Walk. Yell. So yell just doesn't do anything. Struggle. Struggle? Yes. Ask. Save. I can't save. Before it said it didn't want to save at that time. Oh, April's leaving because she hasn't watched Dark Crystal yet. Yeah, you will get spoilers from this game, so I don't blame you. Well, says Hadean Lands is a magnificent exemplar of modern-day interactive fiction authored by one of its scions. Which scion is this? This is a Sierra game. Sudden and total demise comes with the territory. Yeah, I didn't expect the game to be quite so unmerciful. I thought if I died, I'd be able to go right back. Since this is a 2020, remaster of this game, I kind of thought they might have let you just start again from where you were, but no. Volklos is enjoying. We've quickly moved from boring old win the game to the much more entertaining find all the stupid deaths approach. The problem with the stupid deaths is I can't save. So each time I die, I have to go through the entire game again up to that point, which is really annoying. Okay, can I save now? It's a bad idea to do that right now. This is ridiculous. Is there a specific command? Normally they're one-word commands. Sometimes two, it looks like. So where's the save? Getting ready. You must have a separate disk. That's where I went wrong. I don't have a separate disk. Okay, let's try save game. What? Focus was on the wrong thing, I guess. I can't enter spaces. I don't understand. Freaking kidding me? This is kind of annoying. Hadean Lands is by Andrew Plotkin, also known as Zarth in the IF community. Interesting. I've heard of Zarth, but not Zarth. Okay, so struggle didn't work, so I shout. Jen cries help. The girl grabs a long branch and helps Jen out of the bog. The girl smiles and says, I am Kira and this is Fizzgig. I thought I was the only living Gelfling, but then I guess you must have thought the same thing. So in the movie, she helps him out with her hand, and they do an accidental dream fast during it, and that's how they learn each other's backstories. But we're skipping that. Jen and Kira have entered a great forest. They are on the bank of a wide river which flows south. Jen tells Kira about his quest to heal the Great Crystal. And at this point in the movie, he doesn't know really about the Great Crystal at all. Jen's most common line is, I don't understand. He's basically clueless for the entire movie. What does Jen do? Talk or walk? Well, they haven't gotten each other's backstories yet, so let's talk. Gelflings can talk without speaking. Aha, dreamfast time. When Jen and Kira touch, they can share their memories, thoughts, and feelings. This is known as dreamfasting. Volklos is reminiscing about the good old days, opening a new game acquisition and receiving 12 or more floppies to swap between. Yeah, I think this one only had the one game disk, and then if you want to save, you have a separate blank disk that write the save file on. There was a thing in here about side A. Oh no, there are two disks. There's two disks at least for this. This is the Apple II version manual that I'm consulting here. All right, I guess we walk now. Oh, we missed one of the best scenes in the movie, the podling party. Watching those joyous little pods popping around. Kira brings you to a village. Jen and Kira follow the riverbank and arrive at the podling village where Kira was raised. To their surprise, the village has been torn to pieces and all the podlings are gone. Talk or look are both very passive actions. If we look, we are more likely to see a Garthim and thus run away from a Garthim, right? The two frantically look around and discover tracks left behind by Garthim, warriors of the Skeksis. Kira decides to accompany Jen to the Skeksis castle, where both the Great Crystal and the captured villagers reside. What do they do? Not much else to do, but follow. The journey to the Skeksis castle is long. Kira summons landstriders, long-legged beasts, that will help them cross the Great Desert to the Skeksis castle. Oh, you know what we can do to get there faster? I think I spelled that right. Never mind. Ask or jump? What do you mean jump? Let's ask. How do I get on? Oh, okay, I'm not on yet. The picture threw me off. Just jump on their back. Very well, I will do so. Jen and Kira, look at this artwork. That's beautiful stuff. I love that. Jen and Kira climb into the backs of the landstriders and head toward the Great Desert. As they travel, the heat grows more oppressive by the minute. Interesting. Is that going to be a factor? Sure, we can rest. Wait, this is a trap. If I rest, I'll get killed. That happened to me at the start of the game. Yes. I'm sorry I'm not finding all the deaths. I don't want to go through all this again. They continue to ride through the Great Desert. Looking across the dry, cracked landscape, Jen and Kira can make out the outline of a decayed castle. What do they do? Bridge or tunnel? Well, they started the bridge and then they fall down to the tunnel. So let's follow the movie plot. Bridge. Oh, okay. Kira says to Jen, the entrance is guarded by Gotham. We should try to find another way. Do you want me to know about the movie or not? I don't understand. Game. Kira and Jen get off the landstriders and find a drain pipe that is large enough for them to fit. They end up in an underground labyrinth. Jen, Kira, and Fizzgig are in the sewer system. Strange sounds are coming from a passageway ahead of them. So we skip to the landstrider fighting the Gotham, which was heavily hinted at in the manual's backstory about the antipathy of the landstriders towards Gotham. We also miss the scene where Jen extends her wings. Kira extends her wings. Sorry, I got confused. And carries Jen down to safety through a long fall, which leads to the memorable line, of course. But I don't have wings. Of course not. You're a boy. What a cool movie. Okay. Let's start by talking. I'm scared, Jen, says Kira. It seems like we're just walking around in circles. Well, let's keep walking, I guess. And we haven't even met the Chamberlain yet. Here he is, wearing his full regalia, and he should be in rags because he's been banished, but we'll skip that part, I guess. There was all this stuff about, the Chamberlain meeting them out in the Pud Village and at the Wall of Destiny, but we've skipped that too. As Skeksis patrolling the labyrinth suddenly rushes in from the dark and grabs Kira. As he runs off with her, he touches an unseen lever. I guess we follow. Huge boulders fall, blocking the way Jen and Kira came in. As Jen regains consciousness, he hears strange sounds that are coming from the top of a stairway. Let's run. Jen gets up and runs towards the stairs, trying to find Kira. He has reached the top of the narrow stairway. Strange noises and torchlight are coming from a corridor ahead of him. Okay. We skipped the bit with the psychic connection between Jen and Kira, where she is getting drained by the crystal for her essence, and then Jen contacts her mentally. Well, we'll see if they cover any of that. Let's walk. No stopping to rest. Rest is deadly, always. Oh, look at those Skeksis in their pixelated glory. Good stuff. Jen can see the Skeksis gathered around the Great Crystal. The Great Conjunction is beginning. Kira is being held by the Skeksis. Not pictured. Looks like I'm going to have to jump. Jen lands on top of the Dark Crystal, but the impact has caused him to drop the shard, which now lies precariously on the brink of the shaft beneath the crystal. Jen looks up through an open portal in the ceiling. The three suns are touching. So we've skipped the draining of the essence in the crystal chamber, or, Skektek's laboratory. We've skipped Kira freeing all the animals that attack him, and Aughra being there. And then Jen encountering all the Gotham. Maybe with one of the deaths in the passageway would have been a bunch of Gotham attack you. Gotham are kind of this game's equivalent of Grues. You are likely to be attacked by a Gru or a Gotham in this game. Okay. Quickly, Kira picks up the crystal shard. She's about to throw it up to Jen, but the ritual master, drawn dagger in hand, warns her. Give me shard, Gelfling, and you go in peace. Otherwise, no choice but to kill you. Does Jen save Kira? Ultimately, yes, but let's follow the movie plot and say no. Okay, cool. That was not a fail state. Jen sits on top of the crystal. Kira has thrown the shard up to him. Actually, he doesn't save Kira. The light of the crystal of truth saves her, to be fair. He doesn't do anything. He's a loser. Kira has thrown the shard up to him, and he holds it in his hand. The edges of the three suns are overlapping. The command expected is heal, apparently. I would have said shove. But there you go. Lovely Urskax there. As the three suns become one, a flood of blinding light washes over him. Jen plunges the shard deep into the wound in the crystal. Jen has healed the wound in the crystal and has restored it to its original brilliance. He is now on the floor of the crystal chamber, which is bathed in radiant light. The Gotham are cracking and falling apart. The filthy walls of the castle are crumbling, revealing its original crystalline purity and beauty. The evil reign of the Skeksis is over. However, Kira, who was stabbed at the moment of the Great Conjunction, lies in Jen's arms. The Gelfling sobs uncontrollably as he cradles her lifeless body. I don't want to do that. That's weird, but okay. Yeah, okay. So the crystal heals Kira, and the life that the Skeksis took from her before Jen had healed the crystal is rekindled. Finally, the two Gelflings and all the creatures can live peacefully together in a world to which harmony, after 1,000 years of darkness, has been restored. Build your world in its light. Thanks for playing the Dark Crystal. You won! I don't get points or anything, but yeah, there we go. Game over. That was really short, but that's fine. I didn't prepare to play the original game, but maybe we can check some of the screenshots to see what was skipped over. So here's an encounter with the Chamberlain. Or is that just a background bird? I think that's just a bird. Similar head to a Skeksis. Yeah, happy end. It's a lovely image. Very nice. This rock bears a secret. A creature sneers at him from behind a moss-covered rock. Wow, they really did simplify this a lot. I had no idea. I thought it would be more faithful, but that's okay. A babbling brook may babble interesting things if you listen. So maybe you're supposed to listen to things to get the answers to riddles and stuff. Swampland, vines. Yeah. Ah, the Gotham attack at the observatory. That does happen in the old game. Kira's boat. They skipped that. The Podling Party! See, they skipped the party and the attack to skip right to the destroyed village. And you've got the Wall of Destiny. Oh, wow. So many more opportunities for death sequences in this original game, huh? One wrong step at any of these turns, I'm sure, would have resulted in an instant game over, but at least you would have been able to save. So we even get the Landstriders attacking the Gotham at the castle. We get the flying scene. Lovely stuff. Oh, and even the scary sewer pipe entrance. Lovely. I didn't even need to write a map, by the way. There would have been a lot more navigating and directions and stuff in the original game, I'm sure. But here's what the Chamberlain's supposed to look like with the rags. Yeah, good stuff. Climbing the crystal shaft. Finding Aughra in the castle. Wow, they really cut a lot out of this version, didn't they? Eavesdropping on the Skeksis. Ah, cool. Okay, well, what I was interested in seeing was if the game events expanded on the events of the movie much. And they might do a little bit just for like incidental stuff, but yeah, not significant new events, I think, from what I'm getting here. What else can we see here? So the brook is giving you a clue there. This is interesting. Yeah, so pretty similar stuff here. And the screenshots for the Japanese versions are very sparse. But as you can see, Japanese text. All in katakana, of course. As was the style at the time of computer fonts. Wow. Well, like I said, I'm not set up to play this original game. I might have tried to give it a go if I'd known how much they cut out of the browser version. But I'm not going to do that today. But I'm not ready to end the stream just yet, because there's one more little thing that I found that I want to show during this stream. So what we're going to do is go back to a piece of software that I used last week. Flashpoint, the Flash and web game archiving software. So what I did was I came in here because I thought maybe the browser version would be in here. It's not, but the browser version is, of course, still live on the Jim Henson Company website. But I did find this, The Dark Crystal, Find the Alphabets by 123B. You know what, this is probably unofficial looking at it right now, but we're going to give it a go. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. This is the only Dark Crystal thing that came up in Flashpoint, this one. So we're going to play this. Oh, there's a credits. It's a fan game, and they say so. They don't say who made it, but they say it is a fan game. Good to know. Instructions. Analyze your power of observation by finding out the alphabets. For each accurate click, score will get increased, and for wrong click, score will get reduced. Oh, golly. Okay. I'm going to turn this right down so I don't get copyright stuff, but it's playing a song that I've heard, but I don't know the name of. I'm dropping some frames. Alright. This is absurd. Alright, so that's a hint. What am I looking at? Oh, that's an I. Is it? I don't know. Okay, well, I can see some letters. Because they kind of stand out from the background, to be honest. This is not at all what I was expecting, honestly. But you get to see some lovely screenshots from the film. Fogloss says, the bootleg flash game energy is just leaking out of the screen. Indeed it is. I wish I knew the name of this song. Some of these are pretty clever, like putting the C on this staff in the background. That's an O. Call out if you see anything. Ah, there's the M. I don't... Oh, I can turn it off. Okay. That's probably best, to be honest. I don't know if you could even hear it after I turned it down in OBS, but... yeah. Oh, no sound at all. Oh well. L. Done. I win, right? Yes. Level up. Sick. Now let's just check. It's the same song. Oh, it's so funny. I wonder how many levels there are. Do you think this game has more screens than the browser version of the graphic adventure game? That's what I'm wondering. I kind of thought this would be official, just from a quick glance on Flashpoint, but here we are. Let's at least see Aughra. Man, this movie looks good. Like I said, it's a triumph of, like, set design and stuff. Really beautiful film. And, like, the world building is good too. The limitation, I think, is the actual plot. Like I said, Jen's kind of a boring character. It's like just the hero's journey. So it's a little bit straightforward in that sense. For something a bit more involved in this world, I do recommend the Netflix series Age of Resistance, which was cruelly cancelled after only one order of episodes. As is the way of Netflix. It also has some tie-in comics that are like prequels to the show, which are quite good. I enjoyed some better than others. Ding. I gotta turn this on. I'm going crazy in the silence. Oh no, my score was reduced. I thought that was a thing, but it wasn't. How about that? So I mentioned The Power of the Dark Crystal, a sequel comic. There's a sequel to that, a further continuation of that story called Beneath the Dark Crystal, which I didn't enjoy as much, but it's interesting in how it expands the world. It even has, like, a trans character, or at least one who is sort of transcoded kind of story, which was really cool. Volgler saying his brain always juxtaposes Dark Crystal with Labyrinth. Makes a lot of sense. They're released around the same time. Jim Henson puppets and stuff. They're very much linked in many, many ways. Wait, what? Oh, is that the end? I can submit my score. This is not going to save anything. Wow, you can pick between all the countries. Submit. Yeah, that's opening a website. Never mind about that. Play again. Well, I thought that would last longer, but there you go. The Dark Crystal Find the Alphabets with 3 levels. Indeed, it had fewer screens than the Graphic Adventure. Not really surprised, I guess. Okay. Well, I had nothing else prepared, so I guess that's the end of the stream. Thanks so much for joining me. Labyrinth, actually, on the topic of Labyrinth, there's more Labyrinth video games. There's even one on the Famicom. That's maybe a possibility for the future, is playing those. But sadly, that's really all the Dark Crystal games. Oh wait, I lied, because Age of Resistance had a tie-in game. Age of Resistance Tactics, which was released in 2020, the same year as the remaster of the Graphic Adventure, and is like a tactic RPG. I have just recently bought that, and I'm going to be playing through it later this week. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. Set in Age of Resistance, although the kind of blurbs say that it includes characters from the classic film somehow. Interested to see how they rationalize that in game, but yeah, that's kind of the only 2 Dark Crystal games out there. Yes, okay. That's, I think, all I had to say. So, Folklore saying, fascinating, hope it's a fun ride. Yeah, should be good. I wondered if there was something just past that, but no. Did we get the credits? Did the manual have credits in it? No, that's the end. Okay. Designed by Roberta Williams, it says on the back of the manual. But of course, there are a lot of people involved. Maybe the Gelfling Adventure version had a full credits, but yeah, lots of people here worked on it, of course. It's not just Roberta Williams on her own in a room. We even get a credit for who wrote the backstory that I read at the start of the stream, J.J. Llewellyn. 1 credit on 1 game. Don't know who that is, but yeah, thanks to them for that. Seems to be linked to, notes by Brian Froud, unless they actually took this into account when writing later, creation myths comics or something. I don't know. Although not all of it is taken into account. But it was interesting to get that expansion. Okay, I'm going to stop waffling on. Yeah, thanks for joining me. This was the Dark Crystal. High-res adventure number 6, sort of. That's how it started, but obviously it came a long way to get to this point. Okay. Cool. That's the end. Happy New Year, everyone, and I look forward to playing lots of cool games in 2024. With you watching or whatever. Okay. Bye now.